they've cracked down on what was initially called ICOs. Okay. We'll get in before we end this podcast. I definitely want to leave people with some ways to currently kind of get in and increase their potentially increase their gains, or their investments. But the ICO space is important to talk about because it's kind of the history of where it came. ICO stands for initial coin offering. I think we tapped into that. My personal experience with it was investing in ICOs, and what you would do is you would go on a site, you would read a white paper, they would pitch this project. They would say, hey, invest. We will take either Ethereum, we will take BTC, and we will also take USD. The minimum investment is 500, 250 USD or 1,000 USD or whatever the minimum investment is. And you get, essentially it's kind of like shares in the company, right? Like an IPO. Yeah. But what they would do is they would then, have a roadmap, and they would essentially tell you what exchange that they would launch on. And once they got an exchange approved, that's when more people jumped in, because it's like, oh, it's going to drop on KuCoin, or it's going to drop on Binance, or it's going to drop on Bittrex or Poloniex, or it's going to be available on whatever exchange. Yeah. If it's Coinbase, then it's even bigger, right?
Yeah,
because that's more
the biggest one. Yeah.
Right. And so they would then, release the information. They would release what exchange the coin is on, and then they would tell you about their project. They would give you updates. You join the Telegram, you communicate with the admins, you just get all in to that project and see what it's all about. The key for Dragon Chain at the time was that they're branded being on a business to business platform. And it was like, they made sure that their platform was interoperable with other tokens. And they kind of wanted to make sure that the ease of adoption of blockchain technology was available to businesses if they wanted it. And that was their main thing. The other thing, that the hype, because you can't forget about the hype element of it, because there's a hype cycle. The hype was the fact that it was created in Disney's offices in Seattle by a guy named Joe Rowitz, I think his name was, or is. And the fact that it was a Disney-backed cryptocurrency, even though Disney never officially backed it, but it was in the incubation space of the Disney Seattle offices, made everyone just like flock to it, because it was like Dragon Chain. Oh, like the pink pale dragon, or like dragon. Oh yeah, or whatever.
There's some pretty cool names in crypto.
Pete's Dragon. Pete's Dragon. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. So it's like Pete's Dragon, and everybody was like, oh, Dragon Chain. And it was like this. The icon was like a sleeping dragon, and it was like everyone. It was like the cartoonish one, and all the Disney heads. We all grew up watching Disney, and there's so many investors in it, and it was 6 cents in the ICO available for one token was 6 cents.
6 cents.
Yeah, I ended up buying like 17,303 tokens to be exact, at 6 cents. Tell me why that thing didn't go up to $5 when it hit exchanges at one point, maybe like $5.42 or whatever.
Damn, that's crazy.
So yeah, right. That's a humongous gain. The gains that are available. Yeah. And so I was like, whoa, dude. And so at that point I felt vindicated as far as missing the wave of the BTC wave, because then I was able to take chunks out and actually exchange it for BTC, whatever value it was at the time, like 8,000, 5,000, whatever it was. Right. And I was like,
just hodl that.
Yeah. And I was just like,
and then use your other gains to US. And then you've been investing in other ones since then?
Of course. Yeah. And at that time I invested in Power Ledger and various different ones. But now, like fast forwarding to today, the current real, I guess, moneymaker is in yield farming and anything in the DeFi space. The DeFi space is exploding. DeFi stands for decentralized finance. And there's a lot of apps, and there's a lot of ecosystems.
What's the DeFi space?
The DeFi, like I said, decentralized finance. So there's.
But how's that different from, for example, like the traditional Ethereum and Bitcoin? And
it is it's using tokens like the Kyber Network, for example, helps make transactions easier. Like Matic, for example, which is a project I'm excited about, is helping people's interface with the decentralized finance network become easier. So if there's a barrier to entry or like a more difficult ramp up, they're focusing on making the user experience more pleasant. Yeah. And for all intents and purposes, without getting into the nuts and bolts, the DeFi space is the most exciting space in crypto right now, because like I was talking about earlier with adding liquidity to a decentralized exchange, that would be an example of a practical application of DeFi, right? You are now a liquidity provider.
Yeah.
That's way cooler than investor, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a liquidity provider, you know, like, you're like, it's like, so you're also receiving like the APY, you know, like the annual percentage yield, you know, like, that you're receiving for something like a PokeSwap, right? I was just recently put on game about PokeSwap by my nephew, and he was, because I helped him, you know, back in the day and told him about Bitcoin, and we in our family we're all like all of our family gatherings.
Is that everybody invested in Bitcoin or in the crypto space?
Mainly us too. Like we're like the main ones in our family, but we essentially are always talking crypto, like at every like holiday gathering. That's like that dominates the conversation, but because it's the most exciting thing. But PokeSwap, for example, it like is part of the SORA network. So SORA, and there's the SORA is releasing a Val token. They're going to do an airdrop, and they are. It's an exciting space right now because Polkadot is like what helped the blockchain tech. The problem in blockchain. Let's rewind a second. The problem in blockchain is that it's kind of rudimentary. Okay, because you can have like integrate your blockchain tech in your project, but you can only process so many transactions
with the Ethereum
right
network.
And what ends up happening is there's a bottleneck, right? Well, Polkadot has solved that problem with the real or the scale. It's like a circular, think of it like a circular application that can interchange different chains, different blockchains.
It connects all the chains, and in order to process it just takes a long time, right?
But Polkadot has revolutionized that. So now it's allowing you to use any blockchain tech at scale, which was the key the whole entire time. Was how do we scale this? How do we make this so it's easier to integrate into our project? If we have a supply chain, for example, and we're moving large volumes and we need to record like 1,800 transactions per second or whatever the heck it is, like this is the way to do that now. If you're trying to, like, even in the cannabis industry, if you're trying to go from harvest to sale, right, and you're trying to track all that process, even just for legality and regulation purposes, you now have a way to do that, right?
Yeah.
And even on the payment portal side, so there's so many exciting things that, like,
is that what
in so many different industries.
So Polkadot, so that's kind of a better version of Ethereum, or is that
you could say that. So
because ETH 2.0 was supposed to do that to kind of ease the transaction process, right?
Yeah, and among other things, yeah. And so you're preventing forks too with Polkadot, because I don't know if you remember, but there was a hard fork at a certain time, a long time ago, and what that means is that people that are in the network stop supporting one element, and then all of a sudden there's a new format that's structured out of a token or a form of currency, or like BTC, for example. I don't remember Bitcoin Cash, or there's like the Lightning Network, and there's different hard forks that end up alienating some users, and Polkadot has solved that because now you can upgrade the chain while still keeping the integrity of the initial coin, or the initial project.
Yeah.
So you have, I would say, BTC, Ethereum, Polkadot.
Those are the three.
Right. Yeah. Those right now, you know what I mean? As of this recording, there could be something else that comes up. I never thought Ethereum. I learned about Ethereum at $9, $11. And that was a freaking crazy situation. And then Dash too.